The competition is going to be your average consumer. Are your thrift stores getting ridiculously priced? Are your flea markets following as well? That's what's happened to me just this past weekend, guys. So today we're going to be talking about thrift stores versus flea markets. I'm going to be telling you an experience I had at the thrift store and an experience I had at the flea market. And we're going to start off with the thrift store. At the thrift store, usually, at least in my area, I'm always expecting something to be extremely priced up. That's just how it is in my area. It is what it is. And mostly when I go to shoes, they price them usually like around 15 and above now. I don't know what the reason is why, but just your basic pair of Asics, Vans, or just anything that has a well-known brand name, they're starting to price them up to $15 a pair, which most of the time, those are not worth it at all. I was very surprised when we went this past week that the shoes were actually priced decently. I look at shoes and clothing, and sometimes the hard goods. I don't really go to that third spot as much anymore, but clothing and shoes I do. Shoes, of course, if you guys don't know, I'm a majority shoe seller, so that's what my primary sourcing is. And clothing I do get from time to time, but I usually do not like to get them from the place that I went because it's pretty much priced up all the time, and this was no exception. They wanted a button-up t-shirt, just your regular Nike one. I believe it was like $10 for one. Not worth it. So I found a good amount of pair of shoes that were actually decently not worn out, and they were actually pretty clean or just needed a quick little cleaning for like $7-8, which is actually really reasonable for me in my area. I know in other areas you can get shoes for a lot cheaper. So that was a very interesting thing that I saw. I ended up going to a second thrift store, and that one was even better, at least in some things. The clothing was priced really great on that one, so I ended up coming out with a basket full of clothing, which, again, that was awesome. And then the shoes in this particular thrift store that I go to, I don't really like getting them from there because they are extremely priced up. So I don't even bother to go to the shoe section of that one unless it's like half day or coupon day. So I was pleasantly surprised about that. Now, let me tell you about my experience with the flea market. The flea market is by far my favorite type of sourcing to do, and the reason I love to do flea market sourcing is because you can build a connection with the vendors. You can negotiate too, of course, but to me the connections is what is more important. Negotiating too, though. I ended up going to 2 flea markets last weekend, and one of them was awesome as usual, and then the second one was pretty bad. For a pair of Vans, basically just your solid ones that you could maybe sell for like $25-30 plus shipping on eBay, they want $20-25 for those in used condition. If they were in new condition, then yeah, I understand them asking for that much, but for used, no. And what else? I think some of the toys, the plushes, they're getting ridiculously priced too, and I have no idea why. Just a one plush that we wanted to pick up, they wanted $10 for it. You can maybe sell it for $15 plus shipping on eBay, and it doesn't make sense. Now, I understand for the flea market, they're vendors after all, they're resellers, they know what they have too. So to them, I expect it to be a little bit on the pricier side, but also you do find your awesome deals from time to time. And in my opinion, every flea market is different. You do have your flea market as a whole, where you do have your cheaper ones and then you have your overpriced ones. It could be due to the amount they have to pay for that space for the day, or other factors that I might not even know about. But that was just an interesting experience for me. When it comes to thrift stores versus flea market, as I said, flea market is by far my favorite. That's the reason why I stopped going to thrift stores, because I was finding that they were becoming more expensive. But with this last week, when I went to, I believe it was three thrift stores actually, I ended up finding that I ended up getting more from the thrift stores for way cheaper than what I did at the flea market. And that I might rethink how I do my sourcing from now on, but so many factors could come into play with that. Recently, people have been saying that due to everything that's going on with clothes going up, food, gas, all that stuff, people are shopping secondhand way more, and it's expected to boom a lot more soon. Not even soon, probably in a few years. And that means that thrift stores are going to have more of your regular buyers, not just resellers in general. And when I went to the thrift store as well, I noticed that it was really, really packed. And not just by resellers, but by just your average consumer. They just want to buy cheap clothes right now because everything is tight. And that's what I noticed. I haven't been into a Goodwill in a while, so I don't know how that is, but I know usually Goodwill's pretty packed anyways. But that's what I expect to happen. So when it comes to the age-old question, thrift stores versus flea market, which one should you do? That's completely up to you. All our flea markets, all our thrift stores, they're different depending on where we are. My thrift stores are normally packed. People know the special days and they're right there on the dot when they open. And that's hard for me because I am only part-time. I do have a full-time job that I have to do. So all the full-timers, they of course get all the great stuff. But even so, even when I go after I'm done with work, I do find some good stuff from time to time. But again, flea market is still my favorite type of sourcing. Whether it's your favorite type, not sure. I know that in the East Coast, flea markets are basically limited to the times that it's not snowing. Forgive me, I'm not too familiar about the East Coast. But yeah, right here in Cali, we have them year round. So let me know in the comments below, guys. Do you prefer flea market or thrift stores? Which is your favorite and the reason why? Just expect that everything is gonna be getting more packed. There's gonna be a lot more competition happening soon. Probably not even soon, actually. It's happening now. And you have to adapt. As a reseller, you have to adapt. If you can't adapt, you're going to be left behind. And if you're left behind, you're eventually going to end up quitting. And that is the unfortunate truth that's happening right now. There is going to be more competition, and not even just from resellers, actually. The competition is going to be your average consumer because they're looking for deals as well. And they're looking for deals for more now than ever before, at least in my opinion. So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think about this? First of all, thrift store or flea market, which is your favorite? And do you think things are gonna get even better, or are things gonna get even worse when it comes to reselling? And are you on the fence about continuing this side of a business, or do you think you're gonna end up quitting because things are just gonna be too much for you to handle in the future? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. Remember to subscribe for more reselling content.